So this was the first reaction, shock. Shock because in our mind, everything is totally connected with the UK. Obviously, this decision is a decision. Brexit is Brexit. The people of UK decided the way for the future. Now the situation is that we can and we have to build the best alliance between UK and EU for the future, because we will be the best friends for the next years. And at the same time, I think this decision could push European leaders to invest in a new way for Europe.
Do you think that more should have been done to try to keep the UK on board? Because you said you couldn't imagine an EU without the UK. Now you are going to have an EU without the UK. Shouldn't more have been done?
I tried with an article, with the initiative, with the political process. But what the problem was one problem. When David Cameron decided to use a referendum to solve some internal problem of the Conservative Party, this was the problem. We cannot use the foreign affairs to solve internal problems. The decision of British people is a bad decision in my mind, and I'm sad for that. But if we don't accept the result of referendum, the risk is give the message, vote is not a good thing. Democracy is not an asset for this continent, and this is impossible.
So you think it's definitely going to happen?
For me, yes.
And how should it happen? I mean, obviously Britain has to trigger Article 50 for official talks to start. In what mood should they be? I mean, how tough should they be?
When British people, British government will decide to open Article 50, I think we will work as soon as possible in only one way to solve every problem, but will be impossible give to British people more rights than the other people out of EU.
So we're clearly talking about the freedom of movement here, right? I mean, so there are those in the United Kingdom who would like to stay, have very good access to the single market, but they don't want to allow the freedom of movement, so the ability for all EU citizens to have access to the labour market. And aren't you asking for flexibility in the Eurozone? Couldn't you allow flexibility for the UK when it comes to freedom of movement?
I think this is a very interesting debate, because this debate will be a debate about the concept of rules in EU. But when UK will decide the opening of Article 50, we will discuss about it.
Okay. Do you think you might be leading those discussions? The other two European powers, Germany, France, distracted by falling popularity polls for Angela Merkel, François Hollande, and upcoming elections. The assumption at the moment is Article 50 could be triggered in the new year. That could leave you in the hot seat. What will you be saying to Theresa May?
I think the leading role will be in the hands of European Commission and not in the single states. Personally, I will be very ready to work with Theresa and other colleagues to support this very difficult process, because it's the first time, so it's not easy.
The UK hasn't triggered Article 50 yet. We don't really know when it will trigger it. What's the mood amongst your other EU leaders?
There is the need to solve as soon as possible the problem of UK, because we employed the last 2 years about Brexit. From 2015 to today, for the first months of 2015 to today, we discussed a lot of times about Brexit. So now it's time to solve the question. At the same time, there is a sentiment of sadness. So the mood is emotionally a sad mood.